In the last class, we were discussing regarding the water characteristics. So in that water characteristics, we will be having physical characteristics, chemical characteristics, and biological characteristics. Now, in the physical characteristics, we have discussed regarding color, its desirable limit and its permissible limit, and then how it is important regarding all these we have already talked about this. Then we have talked on the odor. Okay, odor we have already talked regarding their desirable and permissible limit. Then we have covered turbidity along with its desirable and permissible limit. Then temperature. Then types of total solids, how it is important, what kind of a desirable, to what extent the desirable limit and permissible limits are there, we have discussed in the previous class. Now in today's class we are going to discuss on the chemical characteristics of water. Okay, so this particular chemical characteristics is going to be very important in case of the water characteristics, right? It will be having the elements like the pH, then acidity, then DO, then chloride content, etc contents are there that we are going to discuss in detail along with its desirable and the permissible limits. In today's class, we will be concentrating on pH, chlorides, dissolved oxygen, and then hardness. Now, we will first come to this particular pH. Okay. Now, what is pH? It is defined as the log of reciprocal of hydrogen ion concentration in water. Okay. Now, in this, what is P? What is H? P indicates the potential difference between the two electrodes and H denotes the hydrogen ion concentration. Now, this pH is a chemical parameter, and the specialty of this particular parameter is that this particular parameter is not going to have any kind of a unit. Okay, so we are going to discuss regarding the pH scale. We are going to discuss regarding pH scale in this particular diagram. Okay, now pH is going to have the values in between 0 to 14. Okay, 0 to 14. In that, from 0 to 7, right? From 0 to 7, we call this particular range as an acidic limit, and from 7 to 14, we are going to call it as an base. Okay, we call it as an base. We call this is an acidity. From 0 to 7 we call it as an acidity, from 7 to 14 we call it as an basicity, and 7 we call it as an the neutral range. Okay, now what happens in pH is less than 7 when the hydrogen is predominant. Here, when the pH is in between 0 to 7, there will be more predominance or dominance of hydrogen ion concentration, you can see. Example for the acids are H2SO4, HCl, and etc. Right? From 0 to 7, we are going to have the acidic elements in this particular range, and from 7 to 14, we are going to have the base range. So, in this particular thing, we are going to have NaOH and KOH and etc. bases. Okay. Now, why the pH is more than 7? When the pH is more than 7, the hydroxyl, that is the OH ion concentration, will be more. Here there will be a predominance. When it is under the acidic range, there is a predominance of the H plus ion, and when it is a base, there is a predominance of the OH minus ion concentration will be there. So 0 to 7 it is for acids, and from 7 to 14 it is for a base, and 7 it stands for the neutral water. We also call, for best example for this particular neutral range is the distilled water. Okay, this particular distilled water is the best example for the neutral range. Now, what is this distilled water? Now, in a container, if we are going to take the water, right, in a container we are going to take a water. In this particular container we are going to heat it at a temperature of around say 100 degrees Celsius. Then what is going to happen? We are going to get the evaporation. Okay, the water is going to get evaporate. Now when the evaporated water, when we condense or when we cool it down, we are going to have this particular distilled water. This particular distilled water is we are going to use it in the laboratories, okay, for the preparation of chemicals and all. Okay, now this pH of this particular distilled water is 7. Okay, why it is going to have 7? Because here the concentration of H and OH is equal to each other. Okay, and the specialty of this particular distilled water is it is free from all the salts and the minerals. Okay, now why the pH is becomes important when we are going to come to the chemical characteristics. When the pH of water is below 4, it gives us a sour taste. Okay, it is going to give us a sour taste. And when the pH of a water, okay, it is above 8, okay, when it is above 8 or when it is above or 8.5, it is going to give us a bitter taste. So that is the reason why this particular pH is going to be important for in terms of the chemical characteristics. See, all these chemical characteristics, like how the physical characteristics were visible, we are, by seeing the water, we cannot able to judge how much will be the pH, how much will be the chloride, how much will be the dissolved oxygen will be there in the water. It is we cannot directly, we cannot tell it. So we will be using the some of the different testing we are going to have it for each one of these. Okay, now how we can determine the pH of a water? There are two methods in order to determine the pH of water. One is by using, if we don't have any kind of an instrument and if we want to determine it at a spot, right, at a spot, if we want the pH of a one particular solution, then we will be using the litmus paper for this. Okay, we are going to use the litmus paper. This litmus paper, it is prepared by the various kinds of various companies, and these companies will be giving some color code, right? These companies will be giving some color code to the specific pH range. Okay, now when we take a beaker of a solution and when we want the pH of this particular solution, what we are going to do is this litmus paper or a pH paper, we are going to dip into this particular water sample, right? After dipping it and after we take this pH paper out, right, how much the dipped portion is there, it will be having some color, like might be orange, red, purple, green. Okay, so according to the companies, they have the prepared it. Okay, now this color itself will indicate, okay, this color itself will indicate whether it is in the acidic range or in the basic range. For example, here here we are going to have one particular pH scale. In this particular pH scale, the company has given the various color coding. Here for 0, they have designated it as a red. If it is in an acid range, strong acid, then if it is having a 0 pH, then it may show you the red color. Or say we take it as, suppose if the solution is in the neutral range, then it may give you green color. And if it is a complete strong base, then it may give you the purple color. So your pH paper is going to tell you at a site itself, it is going to give you the approx value of the pH. Okay, now there is one more method in the lab we are going to perform it, that is the conductimetric method. Okay, we are going to use an electrode, we are going to dip it and it is going to give us the correct value of the pH. So this is regarding the pH. Okay, now our IS standard has given, the IS code has given the range for a desirable limit is in between 6.5 to 8.5, and they have not given any kind of a relaxation in terms of the permissible limit. So desirable limit itself we needed to have it for a pH. So it should be in between 6.5 to 8.5, and remember, it is not going to have any kind of a units. Now the second parameter is regarding the chlorides. Now chloride ion is essential to the electrolytic balance in our body. Okay, the chlorides are found in all natural waters and in the varying concentration depending upon the geochemical conditions. For example, now when the precipitate is going to occur, right, now water will be flowed on the ground level, right, and then some of the water is going to percolate inside the ground. Okay, now if this particular soil, wherever it is going to be percolated, if it is going to have some salts in it, and if it is going to have the rocky strata, in that the chloride, some amount of chloride content is there, then we are going to have the chloride content in the ground water. Okay, so this is how the chloride content is going to come into water. Now for example, again we are going to see one more condition, right? In case of the coastal areas, right, we are going to have a sea, right, and suppose here we are going to have the well. Now from this particular sea, right, the groundwater, the sea water is going to be percolated into these particular wells. Suppose the well is very near to the coastal line, then this particular well water, there is a more possibilities of having the salt content or the chloride content near to that particular sea. If the well is near to this particular sea, there is more chances of having the chloride content in this particular well water. As we go away from this particular sea, right, as we go away from this particular sea, there is less possibilities of having the chloride content into the groundwater. So this is how the chloride content will be intruded in water, right? So sea water will be having the chloride content of around 19,000 to 20,000 mg per liter, right? The chlorides in reasonable concentration are not harmful to the human beings. They are required to maintain the electrolytic balance of our body, right? The chlorides usually it won't be harmful, and the sodium part of the salt has been linked to the heart and the kidney kind of diseases. Okay, now if we are going to have this chloride content water, if it is more than 355 mg per liter, now we cannot use it. The IS code suggested us that we cannot use the water of having more than 355 mg per liter chloride content. We should not use it for the irrigation purpose, or else what is going to happen is the soil pores will be getting clogged with these chloride elements, and the water will not be percolated, and the soil quality in that particular area is going to be get affected. Okay, now the water which is used, suppose if the chloride content water is used in the concrete making, then if more amount of say around 500 mg per liter of chloride content is there in that particular water, then it may lead to the corrosion of the reinforcement. So this particular chloride content is going to be important in this particular aspect. Our IS code has suggested to have the chloride content in between 250 mg per liter is a desirable limit, and the permissibilities they have restricted it to 1000 mg per liter. And in the last classes I have told what is this desirable and what is this permissible limit. Next parameter is dissolved oxygen. Now as the name is suggesting, it is dissolved oxygen. That means in water the oxygen is completely mixed with water, that is nothing but the dissolved oxygen. That is, oxygen is present in the dissolved form, so we call it as an dissolved oxygen. In a short term we are going to call it as an DO. Okay, now this particular DO, if we take the water surface, right, now this particular oxygen is going to enter from atmosphere to this top surface of water. If this is the depth of the water, here since the atmosphere is going to have the oxygen, right, here at the top surface there is more amount of DO that you are going to get at the top surface. As you go down, the DO content or the oxygen level, it is going to bit reduced. Okay, and then there is, as in the day of a circulation, this top water will go to the epilimnion, hypolimnion, right? It is going to have the continuous circulation. So overall, here the DO content is going to be properly maintained in this particular entire water source. Okay, so normally the oxygen level at top surface will be bit at a higher level than the downward levels. Okay, now this DO is going to have the relation between with the temperature. Okay, this DO is going to have some relation with the temperature. That how it is going to have the relation is at 0 degrees Celsius, that is the water with having the 0 temperature, 0 degrees Celsius temperature, it is going to have the DO content of around 14.6 mg per liter. Okay, it is going to have 14.6 mg per liter, and at 35 degrees Celsius, okay, at 35 degrees Celsius, what happens is the DO drops at 7 mg per liter. That means the temperature and DO, they are inversely proportional to with each other. As temperature increases, DO reduces, right? And as temperature increases, DO decreases. So you can see that as temperature is going to decrease, DO is increase, and then temperature is going to increase, the DO is going to decrease. So this particular thing is very, very important aspect as for your water treatment also, and as in the next semester you will be learning regarding the wastewater treatment. So this DO is going to be playing a very important role in both the semester. Now if the DO is less, okay, if DO is suppose 2 mg per liter, earlier suppose if it is going to have 4 mg per liter, and now it is going to decrease to 2 mg per liter, this indicates that there is a contamination of water is going to has happened due to the biodegradable element. Okay, regarding this we are going to discuss in detail when you come into the next semester. Just remember, if there is any kind of a microbial contamination, there will be a DO is going to be get decreases. Why get decreases is the microbes which are present in the particular water, it goes on consuming the oxygen content which is present in the water. So that due to the microbes, the DO content is going to be get reduced. Okay, now your say DO should content for the survival of aquatic life, right? For the survival of aquatic life, the DO content should be in between 4 to 8 mg per liter. Okay, now if it goes below 4, right, if the DO content, if it is goes below 4, what happens is the aquatic animals whatever are there, they are going to have they are going to feel the shortage of oxygen, and they may die. And even this more DO, less DO also it is going to create a problem, more DO also it is going to create a problem. More DO, if it is there, suppose 14 mg per liter DO is there, then what will happen is whatever the pipelines, whatever the water it is going to be carried, due to the high amount of DO, these pipes are going to be get corroded. So the the DO content should be there around 4 to 8 mg per liter. If less, then aquatic life will die. If more, it is going to create a corrosion beyond, say up to about 12, 13, 14, they may create a corrosion. So this is regarding DO. Now the next parameter is hardness. Regarding hardness, we have discussed regarding this in your miscellaneous treatment, right? here we are going to have the two types of hard water, that is, one is temporary hardness and one is permanent hardness. The temporary hardness is caused due to the presence of calcium and magnesium associated with the carbonates and bicarbonate. It is going to cause the temporary hardness, and the permanent hardness is going to be caused due to the presence of calcium and magnesium associated with the sulfate, nitrate, and then chloride. So this is going to cause the permanent hardness. Temporary hardness, how it can be removed? It can be removed by boiling and by using the SS lime, and permanent hardness it can be removed by zeolite process and the lime soda process. Regarding this, we have discussed in detail. Okay, if the water is hard, what all problems are going to happen is, it is the food will be tasteless or less tasty, and then it is going to cause the corrosion problem, your incrustation problem in case of your boilers or your pipeline, and then it is going to have, if you are going to use it for day-to-day life, if you are going to use it for bathing purposes and all, then you may, due to more amount of hardness, our body will be having some white scales on our body, or the white patches will be getting created. These are nothing but the salts. Okay, so this is what the hard water we have, how it is going to create a problem. This we have discussed in detail in the miscellaneous treatment, so I won't go much detail regarding this. Okay, we will just discuss what is the desirable limit and permissible limit we are going to see. Our IS code suggests that the desirable limit around 300 mg per liter and permissible limit around 600 mg per liter. This hardness is going to create a different kind of a problem in case if the hardness is more. So in today's class, we have discussed some of the chemical parameters: pH, chloride, DO, and hardness. In tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss regarding the nitrate, sulfate, and then we will discuss regarding BOD and COD. The four parameters we are going to cover in tomorrow's class.